Good evening. The jail's law enforcement courts committee meeting is called to order. This has been a tough week for our law enforcement folks. As Chief Reynolds said early Sunday morning, it was the worst day in the history of law enforcement in Fayetteville. And if that's in Fayetteville, it's plumb in the middle of Washington County, so it's a bad day for all of us. I know everybody's tired. I know all we've got's reports tonight. The chairman's ready to go as fast as everybody wants to go tonight, so it's up to y'all. Could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Agenda passes. The juvenile detention report, I don't know whether there's anybody here tonight. Does anybody have any questions? You're up, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Denise Collins, the director at JDC.
Pull that mic down, please. Thank you.
Hello, Denise Collins, director at JDC. And tonight I have for you the November 2019 statistics reporting for JDC. And the only thing that I want to note that is, I guess, not necessarily a huge major concern, but between 2018 November and 2019, we did have a 134-day increase in the number of days in detention. So that was a pretty big jump.
Okay.
So, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that any of you may have.
Just a sec.
It is rumored that you are Alicia Devon's sister. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Alicia
Correct.
Devons is a JP that sat on this court. She's appointed by the governor.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it's good to have you. She speaks highly of her sister.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. She is the oldest.
I think everybody on the YouTube family just heard that. Yeah.
Other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sheriff, I'm not going to ask you to run through those. I've read them. I assume everybody else has looked at them. They're all very similar to what we've seen in the past. Does anybody have any specific questions?
Might I give you a brief report? Obviously, I can't discuss investigative matters, but just to let you know that Saturday night, we received the call. Of course, we were following it, the events as they played out, and Chief Reynolds contacted me, requested that we conduct the criminal side of the investigation. So our deputies and investigators have been pretty much working around the clock since that time. I will tell you that Officer Cars was transported to the crime lab under escort this morning. He's back, so we'll have that report hopefully to be released probably tomorrow, and then of course the suspect will be taken after that. And I'll keep you up to date as much as I can on that investigation. A horrible, as you stated, Mr. Chairman, a horrible day for law enforcement. One we see it happening all over the United States, but we never think it's going to happen in our own backyard. So senseless. We're hoping that through the investigation that we can make some sense of it. I'm not sure we ever will. I don't think we do on most of these. So a bad day, but we're working on that, and they're working around the clock until we get done. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ombudsman report. Mr. Adelman.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, and I will try and be as brief as possible because I don't need to rehash what's in my report as well. Our activities continue, and just an important date coming up for this week is a meeting with the judges of the Circuit Court of Washington County, where we're looking forward to kind of thorough kind of airing of issues as to how we can be most cooperative and most proactive. Let me please add my voice to yours and to Sheriff Helder's. Just enough has been said, but just the horrible sorrow and tragedy that has befallen the Fayetteville Police Department, the county, and the state. There's nothing really to add to that, but it has affected us all. The only thing I want to add, other than taking any questions that the Justice of the Peace might have, is just looking down the road slightly, because the original appropriation by the full quorum court on the recommendation of this committee was $15,000. We are approximately less than a third of the way through that, which is to say, again, looking forward, probably the present allocation ought to take us through around April or May, which I think very nicely coincides with the school year at the university and the students who have been working with us on this project. So I'm thinking maybe come around March would be a time for us all, the committee, myself, to take a kind of hard look at how things are going with the Ombudsman project. Should it be continued? Should it be extended? I'd say again, right now, all signs are favorable, but probably early 2000 would be the time to maybe then take that kind of closer look at how things are going, where we should proceed from there. With that, I'll take any questions and wish everybody a joyous holiday.
Any questions for Dr. Adelman? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
As far as the report, I discussed with our chairman a while ago that I just haven't been able to get that together with everything that's going on, so there won't be a report. There will, however, be a meeting Friday at noon. And one last thing I want to make sure that you're aware of, there will be a 287G steering committee meeting Thursday here in this room at 10 a.m. So the public, it's an annual meeting. That's a requirement of the contract. We switched from Benton County to Washington County, so that will be Thursday at 10 in here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, the lease agreement on the county buildings at 114 North College. Justice Deakins, do we have an update?
Just real quick, Mr. Chairman, we have made contact with the state. As per our lease, we are obligated, if we reclaim that building, to reimburse the state for improvements at their depreciated value. And so we're trying to get those figures together. I'm hoping to bring something to this committee in January with some hard figures that we could start looking at to see where we're at in this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll leave that on the agenda. Justice Harbison.
As most everybody on this court knows, this is a women's kind of prison that's been very successful in returning these people to the community and that kind of thing. So I've gotten several calls because of the effectiveness of this project here, putting this in the community. And my reply to these people, well, maybe we should just sell the building to the state at market value, and then we could use that money on the South Campus in some way. That's just an idea that, that might be considered. Thank you.
Other comments? Justice Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In case you missed it, Greg Harton had a very good brief editorial on this topic. He had done some research, and at the time when Community Corrections took this facility over, the only facility for women was south of Pine Bluff. So anybody in this part of the state pretty much had a long, long trip to go visit. And he pointed out how successful the program has been there as well. Plus, the building has been greatly modified for its use in community corrections rather than a jail. So I want us to kind of be sure we're thorough in looking at the pros and cons of changing that building, as J.B. Harbison has pointed out.
Thank you. Other comments? Public comment. We have a 12-minute period for public comment. There's a 3-minute limit for individual comments. Does any of the public want to make comments tonight?
Shortest jail committee I've ever seen.
What did she say?
She's commending your efficiency, Mr. Chair.
Excuse me?
She's commending your efficiency.
Thank you. Then if there's no public comment, without objection, this meeting's adjourned.